So last year I decided to start a new tradition for Easter. Instead of giving everybody chocolate, because everyone seems to get enough chocolate, I decided to bake instead. And this year I did the same, but this year I added a few more biscuits to the list. This year, however, these biscuits all had a bit more of a journey. They weren't just all made at home. They went from here to an hour away, then back home again to the finished product, and then to the finished product. So grab a cuppa and sit back and watch me share our excellent Easter. So the first biscuit I started with was yo-yos. Now, if you haven't already made yo-yos, or you don't know how to, like you don't have a good recipe or whatever, I do actually have a separate video on making yo-yos. So I haven't actually shared it with step by step in this one. But here I am at the moment. What I've done, I've made 4 batches of yo-yo dough. And then I'm just wrapping it up in Glad wrap and flattening it so it just chills better. And then I label it and put it in our fridge for the next day. The next biscuits I actually forgot to film when I was mixing the dough. However, here is the actual recipe for it. I don't even know what they're called because, as you can see in the description, in the heading, it just says biscuits with icing sugar. I think they could be an Italian biscuit of some type because I was led to believe that many years ago when I was given the recipe. But you will see the end result with them biscuits as they get cooked and covered in icing. Now I'm moving on to my lemon crinkle cookies. Now I found this recipe on Pinterest last year and I made them and they were a hit. So with this one I made 3 batches because I did 3 different colorings. So the first one, in the actual recipe it tells you to divide the dough in 4 and have 4 different colors, but because I knew I had to make so many, I started off with this first one and this was the green, so it's a whole batch. But I will show you the process of this once this one's all wrapped. Now, when I read out the ingredients for these recipes, they're all going to be per batch, not exactly what I would have actually put in. Like these crinkle ones, they're definitely one batch that I'm doing at a time, but the other recipes, some I've doubled and tripled, etc. So, first of all, what I'm doing for the lemon crinkle cookies is just squeezing a heap of lemons that I had for the lemon juice that I need. So, I'd already made a batch, as I just not long said, but so I didn't bother washing the beater or the bowl because it's just going to be the same ingredients going in again. The first thing we need to do is cream together 1 cup of butter and 2 cups of sugar. When you're creaming together butter and sugar, you want it to a certain colour and consistency. So you'll see here that it's still quite yellow, but then all of a sudden it just gets white or whitish, and you just want to get that nice texture. It's really important because it sort of dissolves the sugar in the butter, I suppose. Now, once you get it to this stage, you want to add 4 eggs. And then you just want to mix them through thoroughly and you'll end up with a nice consistency like this. Now our next step is we want to add 4 tablespoons of lemon juice and 4 tablespoons of lemon zest. However, I'm using a lemon zest powder that I dehydrate myself. Then you give that just a quick mix through and then you want to add 4 teaspoons of baking powder. Give it another mix, and then what I've done next is add 4.5 cups of all-purpose flour, or plain flour as a lot of us know it, but you want to add that in about a third of the mixture at a time. The last thing you add is your food colouring. Now there's no set amount of how many drops you add, I just added until I was happy with the colour. and mix your colour through. If you're not happy with the colour, add more. Better to add less until you get to the colour you want. But I added about 12 drops to this. Once it's all mixed through, I then wrapped it in some Glad wrap so that I could then put it into the fridge. That way it just firms up your dough a little bit. Then into the fridge it goes with the other cookie dough I've already made. And now on to my third batch of the lemon crinkle cookies, and this time I'm doing blue. And into the fridge they go as well. I thought after all the mess I'd made making all these, thought I probably should give this a clean up before the next lot. Now we are on to vanilla crescent. Now this recipe says to mix all ingredients together, but I decided to cream the butter and sugar together first, which was 210 grams of butter and 100 grams of sugar. And then you just add in 1 egg. I gave that all a quick mix through, and then I went to the next step of adding 280 grams of plain flour. Now with this one, I haven't personally made them before. Mum has many a times, but I was just a bit worried that they weren't going to be firm enough. However, just trust the process, because once they've been chilled in the fridge, they turned out really good. And with this cookie dough, I just sat it in a glass bowl and covered it with some Glad wrap. And Bonnie just drew a little crescent on there for me, so I knew they're the crescent cookies. And off in the fridge as well. So at this stage, Bonnie had not long got home, and she helped me wrap them up, and then we started on the Italian Easter cookies. I got this recipe off Pinterest and I'd never made them before. So time to cream some butter and sugar again. We added 110 grams of butter and half a cup of sugar per recipe. We add 2 large eggs, but one at a time, and room temperature eggs works better. Once that's all mixed through, you then add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and 1 teaspoon of almond extract and mix that through. In a separate bowl, sift together 2 cups of all-purpose flour, so plain flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder and a teaspoon of salt. Now you want to add 1 tablespoon of milk and then half of the flour mixture into the bowl. Mix that through and then add another tablespoon of milk and the rest of the flour. So you just mix it all till it's combined and make sure you scrape the bowl in between, and then you have a nice cookie dough to go in the fridge as well with all the others. So the next day we went for about an hour's drive to stay with some family members, and this is where we're going to enjoy some more Easter prep fun. Growing up, I remember, with the lead up to Easter, I used to go up to a neighbour's house, and they had 2 girls around my age, and I used to have so much fun with them, making things like marshmallows, doing some baking, making our own Easter eggs, and all these fun things. And I find that nowadays a lot of this stuff's lost. You don't often hear of families doing this anymore, and I thought let's just create this new tradition again and have some fun with family and do what Easter and Christmas and all that's all about, with actually spending time with your loved ones. And so here we are, arriving in Ballarat. Now here I am with all our cookie doughs that we made the day before and getting ready to make the biscuits with my cousins. Okay, we're going to start with rolling out the Italian Easter cookies, because these ones we need to roll and cut into a shape of a little mini donut. But we have that ready and we have the oven ready to go. And say hi to Lexi. Hi. And Tracy.
Hi.
And me. So first of all, I've just got a baking sheet on the counter, and I'm just sprinkling some flour to roll out the cookie dough so we can cut them out ready to put in the oven. Now, of course, I'm really shocking when it comes to, let's read the instructions. No, I did not. But it's okay. It worked out. I'm just playing around with, I wanted to know what sort of thickness to get the dough to. And by not making these before, I had no idea. So I've cut the dough in half because I made such a large batch. I knew I wasn't going to have enough surface to roll on. So we started with half of the cookie dough first. Try it again, Belinda. We've cut that, and then we're just using the, what do you call it, funnel, roughly in the middle. And look, we should have a donut. And then all the holes in the scrubby bits will re-roll. Yep. And then putting them on here. Looks like pineapple.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah. So while Lexi's up there doing them ones, ta-da, Trace and I are going to start on these. These are Italian biscuits, the one that we put the sour cream in, which I didn't film the making of, but that's okay. You'll see this part, and I will make them again another day. But first of all, what we need to do is we just got my mini ice cream scoop, and we're going to scoop the balls into here. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to roll them with coating in icing sugar. Yeah, and just roll them like a rumble. And then we'll just sit them on here. So we've only got 2 baking trays. So what we're doing, we're just doing the baking sheets ready to go. And when the other ones come out the oven, we can just lift the whole sheet over to it. And now things are really starting to take off in the kitchen. So as I mentioned, Lexi's up one end doing the Italian Easter cookies, the donut shapes, and Tracy and I are rolling these ones in the icing sugar. And as we do this, we're just constantly just putting stuff in and out the oven for the next few hours. All right, we'll put one tray in because they're nearly ready. Not nearly ready, they are ready. Let's see how these cook up. And we need one more. And we put 2 trays in. Geez, I'm pushy.
Yeah, you are.
So we get 2 trays in the oven, set our timer for 9 minutes, and then hopefully we don't overcook them and they're not too good. So after 7 minutes, we'll have a sneak peek. Oh, I'm glad we're checking it. I think we might have to turn it down a little bit.
They look yum.
Shit, they look good though. Look at them.
They do look good.
Oh, no, they're cooked nice. Oh, hang on. I reckon turn them ones around and put them back in for about 2 minutes. Because every oven has a hot spot. And now these ones are ready to go in because Lexi's still rolling some of them, so we can get these in next. Is it hot, Trace?
No.
And there you go. And they just said to cook until brownish, but we might just set a timer for 8 minutes again, I think. Because on about 175, 170. Our timer's gone off. Let's have a sneak peek. And I reckon, from memory, they just need a little bit more. But what I might have to do, just in case, because I don't want them to burn. Yeah, definitely need more. Probably another 3 to 5 minutes. Yep, so these took 15 minutes to cook on 170 degrees Celsius. And they still feel soft, but if you look underneath, they're just nice under there. And I can tell you now from memory, these are going to be awesome. So we'll flip them over to there, so we've got the new tray cooling down. But for the next lot of biscuits. And we'll put them back in these ones in the oven. These are at 9 minutes on 170 degrees Celsius. That'll be right.
Yeah.
So Now we're moving on to the crinkle cookies. So we've got the green mix in the bowl, and what we do is the same as before. We with the last lot of biscuits, just coat that in a clean ice cream scoop or cookie scoop because it's the tiny one, and then we just do that. And so if you want them all the same size, which I like to, we want to pretty much do that, and then we just scoop it into here and then roll it into a ball. Ta-da! And while the three girls are in the kitchen, the two boys are outside putting a clothesline in. How cool do they look?
They look alright.
That one's still got the blue in it. That's a beauty. Now on to rolling out and flattening down with a fork and baking the yo-yos. And the boys have got the clothesline in at least. And now to making the crescents. We've got to roll them out, shape them like this, and then bake them. So I just rolled them into little balls as well, like the other biscuits, and then you just sort of shape them. So yeah, it's hard to explain, but I just rolled them long ways into a log and then pushed a little dint into them to curve them over. The last biscuits to go in the oven. We've had enough.
Yep. Yep.
Biscuits in there, in there, in there, in there, in there. So once the crescents have cooled down, we just rolled them in some icing sugar just to give them that coating. And that was day 2, done and dusted. Day 3, Glenn, Brian and I went to get some last minute shopping and we ducked down to a butcher that's local to them just to get some meat for our barbecue that we're going to have on Easter Sunday. We then headed off home and Mum really wanted to ice the yo-yos because she's made many yo-yos over her years, but that was the thing she was looking forward to the most. So she got to ice all the yo-yos. And now it was Easter Sunday and we started off with having some hot cross buns with some of the family. And these hot cross buns were actually made by Bonnie. She'd never made them before, but she made them this time and they were so good, so delicious. No, you're okay. Is that yum? Then our next job was to move on to making some potato salad. Now there's a lot of potatoes here, but I think we had about 30 people around Easter Sunday, which is our normal family gathering amount. Hey Eddie, has the Easter bunny been? There's a potato on the ground.
Nothing in there. Colder. Colder.
I should have put it. Oh, Easter bunny should have put it in there. Hey, Eddie, what's this?
Eddie.
Look, what's this?
Lots of weeds. Don't pull me garlic out.
What's this?
Garlic Easter egg.
Oh, we gotta put it in here. Wow, put that in there.
Yay!
Yay!
Sorry, you can talk. Yum! After packaging all up the other biscuits, I forgot we hadn't iced the donut-shaped ones. So here we are, we made the glaze and Bonnie just put some sprinkles on top to make them look all pretty. Now, the colour didn't come out how I wanted for the icing or the glaze, but it was so delicious. And some homemade paths that Donnie's dad made too. Thanks, Baz. Jelly slice from Lexi. What an awesome Easter. Thanks, Lexi, for the jelly slice and the other help from everybody.